When we read Genesis 1 and the creation account, we are not just reading a generic ancient Near Eastern creation myth. We aren't reading even a text purely from the Old Testament that's detached from the New. We are reading it as Christians, and more particularly as Trinitarians. What can we see within this text that invites such a reading? As we look at the presence of the Spirit, I think we see something already. God is the one who speaks. He's the one who sends forth His Spirit. Spirit and Word together are seen from the very beginning of the creation. The two hands of God, as some theologians have spoken about the Spirit and the Son, are present at the beginning of the creation. The Spirit is the one that acts in a particular way in the creative work. When we look through the creation account, we can see different kinds of creation. There is the Word that is this fiat, this act by which things occur. There is this act of construction. God forms the firmament. And then there's also God empowering and giving life, animating things. Let the earth bring forth. Let the waters teem with. These are acts by which God is giving power and life that emerges from the creation itself. What I think we see here, already within the creation account, is a Trinitarian presence, a Trinitarian mode of creation. The Father, the one who speaks, the Son, the word that is spoken, and the Spirit, the breath, the one that bears that word, that gives life, the one that animates, and the one that fills. And this presence of the Spirit, which we see at the very beginning, anticipates what's going to happen next. Now in the New Testament, we see the Spirit appear at key moments. The Spirit is the one who appears at the baptism of Christ, the dove that descends upon Him. The Father is the one who speaks and declares, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." And there is a new world beginning there. In the same way as the Spirit anticipated this creation, this establishment, this bringing forth of a new world, so the Spirit anticipates what Christ is about to do. We see it again in the story of Pentecost. The Spirit descends upon the church, and this new people is born. This new people emerges. So as we read the story of Genesis, as we read this story of creation, already in the second verse of the Bible, we have an anticipation of what's going to happen next. We have an insight into the way that God works within the world. We have a vision of God's work in animating and giving life. The Spirit that gave breath to the first human being, the Spirit that overshadowed Mary, the Spirit that descended upon the church, the Spirit that came upon Christ at His baptism. In all of these ways, the Spirit is bringing forth a new creation. And as we think about the work of the Spirit today, the Spirit still works. The Spirit is the one who overshadows us as the people of God. We do not yet have the full revelation of what we are to become. But yet we know that the Spirit is bringing forth the sons of God, that the creation is groaning in birth pangs, waiting to be delivered of its children. And the Spirit is the one who is working quietly, surprisingly, in ways that can't be traced, to fulfill God's purpose, creating His children and bringing forth His new creation.